Deep inside the super factories of Caterpillar, monsters come to life.
Yeah, we want the operator to feel comfortable that they can move from one to the other.
Every weld, every spark, every roar, all engineered for one goal: unstoppable power.
It gives it a new life. It's a fantastic system.
This is the story of how the toughest machines on Earth are truly made. So enjoy watching. Meet the Caterpillar 797B, one of the largest dump trucks on the planet, tirelessly working in the vast oil sands of Alberta, Canada. From the moment you see it, you realize this is no ordinary machine. Every aspect of it is colossal, towering over 23 feet tall, nearly 2 stories high, weighing in at almost 600 tons fully loaded, heavier than a Boeing 747, and powered by an engine capable of moving mountains. At its heart, a dual-engine powerhouse delivers over 3,500 horsepower, twice the power of an M1 tank. Building a machine of this scale is a challenge as big as the truck itself, worth more than 3.4 million euros and requiring 6 massive factories across North America. The engines are built in Lafayette, Indiana, the 5-ton tires in Lexington, South Carolina, the advanced cab in Joliet, Illinois, and the 45-ton dump box comes together in Canada. But putting all the pieces together? That happens at Caterpillar's mega factory in Decatur, Illinois. And even then, the truck is too massive to ship in one piece. To assemble over 600 tons of parts, the team works 20 straight days right on site at Fort McMurray, Alberta, where this mechanical monster truly begins its life in the sprawling oil sands. Before this mechanical giant can even roll, it all begins far from the oil sands, in Amite, Louisiana, the Amite Foundry and Machine Company. Here, in the sweltering heat, the 797B's frame, the very backbone of the truck, comes to life. This frame is no ordinary steel. It is the essential structure that holds this mega machine together, carrying tens of thousands of pounds over rugged terrain. Comprised of 9 separate castings, stretching over 36 feet and weighing nearly 62,000 pounds, the frame must be strong yet flexible. At Amite, the crew begins with the center casting, the piece that supports the truck's colossal payload. The process starts with molten metal, heated in the star of the show, a 45-ton AR furnace. Operators fill it with scrap metal, then lower 3 highly charged electrodes into the chamber. As soon as the electrodes touch, a scorching 3,992 degrees Fahrenheit electric arc melts the metal into a bubbling, glowing river. After 2.5 noisy hours, the liquid metal is ready, and the ladle crew takes over. Using a manned crane, they guide a 9-ton ladle to the furnace and pour out a fiery river of metal, hotter than a volcano. Then comes the trickiest part: guiding the molten metal into the mold shaped exactly like the final frame piece. The metal flows in with a flash, and the mold must cool for 36 hours before the casting emerges. At first, it looks rough, studded with jagged nubs like a porcupine. Crews cut, chip, and grind the metal smooth, preparing it for the final critical step: heat treating. Heat treating transforms the hardened steel into something both strong and flexible, allowing the frame to bend over rough roads without cracking. For several hours, the metal is heated above 1,652 degrees Fahrenheit, then slowly cooled, letting the molecules rearrange into bonds that are tough, yet resilient. Once the Emmet foundry finishes their 797B frame pieces, they ship them to Caterpillar's mega factory in Decatur, Illinois, where the assembly process begins. But to truly witness the power of this truck, one must see it at work in Alberta, Canada, where oil isn't drilled, it's dug. Here, the 797B dump trucks are the lifeblood of the operation, moving nearly 275,000 tons of ore every day from the pits to the processing plants. Towering 66-foot, 1,360-ton shovels load the trucks non-stop, each 797B delivering the equivalent of 200 barrels of oil per load. Next, the 797B frame pieces begin their journey to Decatur, Illinois, home to one of Caterpillar's mega factories. Spanning 28 buildings over 350 acres, this sprawling facility is a global hub for mining and construction equipment, and the heart of the production for one of the world's largest dump trucks. By the time the 9 massive steel frame pieces arrive from outside foundries, they are ready for the next stage: precision machining and welding. Inside Building D, workers start by preparing the metal joints to ensure a flawless weld. Sections arriving from suppliers are often rough, so the team machines each surface carefully, providing tight control over every seam. Even the truck's fuel tank top is milled flat, taking 5 passes to get it perfect. The goal is simple: give the welders the best possible surface so there will be no cracks or weak points. The Caterpillar frame assembly happens across 3 main stations. First, the robotic welding area, where machines fuse the main frame together. Next, the checkout station, where the final weld touches are completed. And at the heart of it all is the TAC fixture station, where the process begins. Here, the leader and his team carefully place each frame section into a huge jig, essentially a giant vise that holds the parts perfectly in place. These pieces are immense, ranging from over 440 pounds to more than 11,000 pounds each. Moving them is no small feat. They relies on a remote-controlled crane to lift and position each section. Once in place, the operator meticulously lines up the pieces, leaving only a tiny gap between seams. Bars are tightened and welding begins. Each section can take 3 to 4 hours depending on the complexity, and the team must complete an astonishing 18 welds in total. The frame gradually starts to take shape, but the real challenge is just beginning. Before the frame can carry the 400-ton payload of a 797B, it faces its next trial: supersized welding machinery. This high-tech equipment elevates the assembly process, ensuring every weld is precise, consistent, and strong enough to handle the extreme demands of mining operations. The journey of a 797B dump truck tire begins thousands of miles from the oil sands in the bustling Michelin tire factory in South Carolina. Here, the process is a mix of precision, muscle, and artistry. It all starts with raw rubber, which is fed into a plastifier, a machine that grinds the rubber into pliable, sticky pellets. Next, these pellets move to a massive extruder, where they are stretched and flattened into thin sheets. These sheets are then cooled, cut, and rolled into bands, forming the raw material for the world's largest tires. But shaping the tire is far from finished. Each 797B tire requires up to 130 layers of rubber, carefully stacked by hand. In the assembly area, skilled workers smooth and align each layer to ensure perfect adhesion. Every fold and press of the rubber is critical. Trapped air bubbles or misaligned sheets can create weak points that would fail under the extreme loads of the oil sands. As they build, workers also insert steel belts, up to 6 layers in each tire, to give it strength and durability. Once the layers are ready, the tires are moved into top-secret molds, where pressure and heat force the rubber to adopt the deep tread pattern that makes them capable of gripping the soft, sticky sand of Alberta. This molding process takes 12 hours, during which the tire gradually cools and solidifies into its final shape. After molding, every tire undergoes a rigorous inspection. Technicians carefully check for blisters, poor molding, or other imperfections that could compromise performance. Only after passing these tests does a tire earn the green light for deployment. The result is truly enormous. Each tire stands more than 13 feet tall, weighs about 5 tons, and contains enough rubber to tread over 500 standard cars. They are colossal, but also finely engineered, able to endure the harshest conditions imaginable. These tires are now ready to be shipped to Decatur, Illinois, and eventually to the oil sands of Alberta, Canada, where they will play a key role in moving the massive quantities of oil sand every day. Without these tires, the 797B dump truck, already a titan of the construction and mining world, could not function. If the tires are the feet of the 797B, then the engine is its heart, and it's one of the most powerful heartbeats in the world of machinery. This massive truck needs to move 400 tons of payload across rugged terrain, so it relies on a 3,550 horsepower diesel engine. Built in Lafayette, Indiana, this engine is a marvel of modern engineering. It weighs 19 tons, more than 8 fully loaded Ford F-150 trucks, and is powered by 24 cylinders, arranged as two fused 12-cylinder engines. Building such a powerhouse requires extreme precision at every step. The pistons, connected to steel rods 3 times longer than those in a typical pickup, compress air, which heats up under pressure. Fuel is then injected, combusting with immense force, driving the pistons downward and turning the crankshaft. The crankshaft itself is massive, tipping the scales at over 1,100 pounds, and it must be perfectly machined and smoothed to avoid catastrophic failure. Technicians grind it to microscopic tolerances, ensuring that when it spins at nearly 2,000 RPM, every rotation delivers flawless power. Each connecting rod, piston, and crankshaft is carefully inspected, machined, and assembled in the engine assembly area. Pistons are attached with the help of robots, and special attention is given to components that endure the highest stress, like the cylinder heads and rockers, which regulate air and fuel flow. Even the smallest misalignment can ruin the engine, so every bolt is torqued with precision, and every component is lubricated and tested. Once assembled, the engine is ready to meet its massive 797B frame in Decatur, Illinois. When installed, this single engine powers the truck's 400-ton payload, enabling it to haul 200 barrels of oil per trip across the challenging landscape of the Alberta oil sands. After weeks of separate builds, the massive frame forged in Decatur, the tires crafted in South Carolina, and the 3,550 horsepower engine engineered in Lafayette, it's finally time to bring everything together. In the heart of Caterpillar's Decatur mega factory, teams prepare for one of the most critical steps in creating the 797B dump truck: installing the engine into the finished frame. The process begins with hydraulics, wiring, and other engine systems being connected so that the power plant can communicate seamlessly with the truck's controls. Next, a 55-ton remote-controlled crane lifts and maneuvers the engine into position. The crew works like clockwork, carefully guiding the engine into a space that feels almost like putting on a glove. Even a small misalignment could have catastrophic consequences, so every movement is measured and deliberate. Finally, after several tense minutes, bolts lock the engine securely into the frame. The skeleton of the monster truck is coming to life. But to move this behemoth to a staging area, it must be lifted onto a flatbed delivery truck, weighing over 40 tons. 2 skilled workers, equipped with safety harnesses and remote controls, coordinate every tilt and turn, maintaining perfect balance. One false move could snap the straps or tip the vehicle. The first lift always carries nerves, but the team's precision ensures success. With this step complete, the 797B is mechanically whole, but it's still far from road-ready. The final hurdles require moving the truck nearly 1,900 miles north to the oil sands of Alberta, Canada. This region is among the harshest work environments on Earth. Gritty, sticky, and abrasive terrain tests every component of a machine this size. Once on site, drivers like Paula Freak spend 12-hour shifts hauling hundreds of tons of oil sand from extraction pits to processing plants. It's here, in the extreme conditions of northern Canada, that the 797B proves the true value of every painstaking step from design, casting, machining, and assembly. At this stage, the truck may look like a machine, but it's also a masterpiece of engineering coordination. Each section, frame, engine, hydraulics, was designed with precision, manufactured by specialized teams, and brought together under the watchful eyes of technicians who understand that failure is not an option. Every bolt, wire, and joint has been meticulously inspected to guarantee that when this truck hits the rough Alberta terrain, it will perform reliably. Ultimately, the Decatur assembly marks the culmination of months of effort across the United States. Here, the 797B transforms from a collection of parts into a functioning mega machine. But to fully complete the transformation, one final element remains: the driver's cab. Once the engine and frame are united, attention turns to the cab, the 797B's cockpit, office, and command center all in one. These cabs are designed to keep drivers alert, safe, and comfortable during long, grueling shifts in the Alberta oil sands. Every detail, from panoramic windows to ergonomically adjustable seats, has been optimized for comfort and control. The HVAC system maintains ideal temperatures, while the suspension-adjusted hydraulically controlled seats prevent fatigue, which could otherwise compromise safety. Cab construction begins at the Bergstrom factory in Joliet, Illinois, where a single technician can spend up to 40 hours assembling one cab. Today, master assembler Brad Hills is mentoring rookie John Chammy. First comes the seat installation, a critical task that ensures the operator's alignment is perfect. Special hydraulic chambers adjust seat height for optimal posture, while compressed air ensures smooth, responsive movement. Next, the panoramic window is carefully fitted. The cab is also equipped with soundproofing to protect hearing during long hauls. Control panels feature user-friendly icons, allowing operators to manage the truck's immense power without confusion. Every bolt, hose, and wire is meticulously installed and tested to guarantee that the cab functions flawlessly under extreme conditions. Finally, after several days of painstaking assembly, the cab is complete. It's now a functional command center, ready to be mounted on the 797B. Back on the oil sands, shovel operators begin loading hundreds of tons of sand into the truck. The cab ensures that the driver maintains full control of this colossal machine, managing its massive engine, hydraulics, and steering with precision. To handle the enormous loads that the 797B is expected to haul, Caterpillar engineers designed a dump box unlike any other. A steel colossus nearly 33 feet long, capable of holding the equivalent of 96 Ford Explorers. This monster is assembled at the Leo Roberts fabrication facility in Fort McMurray, Alberta, right in the heart of the oil sands. Each day, trained crews work to assemble one of these massive boxes, a delicate and demanding process that tests both strength and precision. The 797B's dump box is constructed from 5 prefabricated sections: the floor, 2 sidewalls, the front wall, and the protective canopy. First, welder Preston Shiner hooks the 33,000-pound center floor to a crane. This section alone is a handful, requiring the use of a tagline to prevent swinging and maintain stability as it's positioned onto the cart. Crane operator Victor Major then maneuvers the first sidewall, carefully aligning it for bolting and welding. Using an air-powered impact wrench, the crew secures the joints, tightening the bolts with precision. But assembly rarely goes without a challenge. At times, misaligned metal or structural obstacles prevent the panels from fitting perfectly. In such cases, a crew member must cut away the obstruction using an oxyacetylene torch, a flame burning hotter than 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, capable of slicing through steel like butter. With the first sidewall in place, the second wall follows the same method. Finally, the front wall is lifted and positioned. often requiring minor adjustments using chains and winches to align it perfectly. Tack welds secure the walls temporarily, preventing slippage during the final welding process. Once the 5 components are aligned and pre-secured, the welders begin a painstaking process that can take 7 to 10 days. Every seam and joint is fused thoroughly, ensuring the box can withstand the extreme conditions of the Alberta oil sands. Each weld is inspected to guarantee that this enormous steel container will carry 400 tons of material without fail. This final assembly highlights the sheer scale of the engineering behind the 797B. It's not just a box, it's a critical part of a machine that will transport massive amounts of oil sand day in and day out under some of the most demanding conditions on Earth. Caterpillar's attention to detail ensures that every dump box is strong, durable, and ready to perform at the highest level. Bringing the 797B to life at a mining site requires 7 technicians working around the clock for 20 days straight. In Fort McMurray, Alberta, Tristan Hamilton and Soren Thinnon handle the day shift, guiding the truck through its final stages of assembly. The axles, engine, and cab are already installed, but the next challenge is one of the most critical: installing the 6,300 kilogram transmission. A heavy-duty crane lifts the transmission while engineers monitor a clever safety feature called a tattletale, a synthetic fiber that indicates if the sling is overstretched. One wrong move here could damage the truck, or worse, injure a crew member. The transmission must fit into a space barely larger than itself, leaving no room for error. Mechanics work with pinpoint precision to lower it into place without touching surrounding components. Next comes the tires. The 797B's 15-foot 5-ton tires require 47 bolts each, torqued to 2,300 foot-pounds, far beyond the capacity of a standard car wrench. Technicians use massive, air-powered torque wrenches and physically cradle the tires into position, ensuring perfect alignment with the axles. Once the wheels are installed, the truck is lowered from the assembly risers using 4 hydraulic jacks, connecting rubber to the ground for the first time. The final stage is attaching the dump box, a task that demands both skill and courage. Mechanic Nelson Matuk secures 4 synthetic fiber slings to the 45-ton box and lifts it using 2 cranes. Operating both cranes simultaneously, he must keep the box level while guiding it over the truck's frame. The clearance is minimal, just half an inch on each side, and any misalignment could cause catastrophic damage. Carefully, Nelson lowers the box onto pin supports, then secures it to the hydraulic hoist and front pedestals. Finally, after weeks of coordinated effort across 6 factories, handling over 600 tons of materials, the 797B stands complete. Every weld, bolt, and hydraulic connection has been meticulously inspected. The truck is now capable of hauling 400 tons at 40 miles per hour, a true titan of the mining world. Seeing it in action, lifting its dump box and powering across the rugged oil sands is the ultimate reward for the hundreds of engineers, technicians, and assembly crews who brought this colossal machine to life. The Caterpillar 797B is more than a vehicle. It's a testament to human ingenuity, precision engineering, and teamwork on a monumental scale. From the first molten metal pour to its final deployment in the oil sands, every step reflects decades of experience and innovation, proving why Caterpillar continues to dominate the world of heavy machinery.